They became loyal employees. They respected authority, and they are thrifty. Adversity and discouragement of this generation. They have the willpower and the willingness to go the distance, even if they have to dig deep down to get the strength to do so. The second generation I want to talk about is my generation, the baby boomers. Baby boomers were born between 1946 and 1964. And they're called baby boomers because of the dramatic increase in birth rates following World War II as the soldiers returned home and began to focus on creating a family. Baby boomers are known for their pivotal roles in the civil rights movement and also in the Vietnam War. In the workplace, baby boomers played by the rules, putting their work life first and then living out the true American dream. They value relationships and generally have strong interpersonal skills. Some of the baby boomers' contributions to society include many medical and technology advances. A few of the biological science and medical advances include DNA mapping, the development of artificial heart, the development of a flex foot prosthesis, the AED, or the automatic external defibrillator, and also controlled drug release technologies. We talk about time-released drugs that we take today. That was invented by baby boomers. Some of the technology advances that baby boomers are responsible for include the Apple II personal computer. Y'all probably wonder what in the world that is, but I have one. The creation of the World Wide Web, Ethernet, USB ports, the creation of optical character recognition and text-to-speech technology, and the creation of rechargeable lithium-ion batteries and disposable cell phones. So they came back from that civil rights movement from the Vietnam War to be able to do those things. Next, I'll talk about your parents' generation, Generation X. That includes those that are born between 1965 and 1980. They lived through the Cold War, which was a long period of tension between the democracies of the Western world and the communist countries of Eastern Europe. The West was led by the United States, and Eastern Europe, the West was led by the United States, and Eastern Europe was led by the Soviet Union. This geopolitical, ideological, economic struggle between these two super world powers ended with the dissolution of the Soviet Union on December the 26th, 1991. Probably because of their experiences with the Cold War, Generation X became a generation whose worldview is based on change, on the need to combat corruption and dictatorships and abuse and AIDS. A generation in search of human dignity and individual freedom, and the need of stability, love, tolerance, and human rights for all. Gen Xers were the first generation to grow up with access to home computers. As teens and young adults, they socialized online through online bulletin boards and email discussion groups. And from that experience, found some of the first social media platforms, including Friendster, MySpace, and then Facebook, and then Twitter. And those earlier social media platforms then paved the way for Instagram and Pinterest, and both of those were launched in 2010. Given their tech-savvy beginnings, it's no surprise that Gen Xers also founded Google and Amazon and other entities that shape life in the United States today. The generation of my own children, I have two girls, and they're both part of the millennials, born between 1977 and 1994, also known as Generation Y. My children's generation has also had their wars to deal with. Gulf War, It was codenamed Operation Desert Shield. It started in 1990 when the Iraqi army invaded and occupied Kuwait. And it continued through the operations that were leading up to the buildup of troops and the defense of Saudi Arabia in Operation Desert Storm, which lasted until February of 1991. Then, on September the 11th, 2001, millennials also experienced the attacks of the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, and that began the war on terrorism that still continues today. In addition, millennials have experienced the space shuttle disaster, domestic terrorism in Oklahoma City when they bombed the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building, school violence with the shootings at Columbine High School in Colorado and the shootings at Virginia Tech University. They also experienced the great economic recession of 2007. But that didn't stop them. Millennials are the largest generation in Western history in their own track to become the most educated generation today. They're very technologically savvy and they are civic oriented. Millennials are also the most entrepreneurially minded generation ever. They are on the front lines of political and cultural change in America today. And finally, that brings me to Generation Z, your generation, born between 1995 and 2012. You too have had wars that may ultimately impact how your generation shapes the world we live in. In 2001, following the terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, the United States began bombing Afghanistan, targeting bin Laden's al-Qaeda fighters and also the Taliban. Operation Enduring Freedom that started on October the 7th, 2001. And then there's today's war, the war against the invisible enemy, COVID-19. Now, in saying that, I certainly do not intend to take anything away from the military men and women and combat veterans who have served this country and continue to serve today. I do, however, believe that our first responders and our medical professionals and all others who are on the front line of the fight every day are also true American heroes. So in conclusion, each generation has its wars and major crises that it had to deal with. Environmental, political, and social forces that shape its character. And as I've tried to illustrate, each generation has come out of these events stronger and better than they were before. It remains to be seen, but it's very likely that history will record the COVID-19 pandemic, the war against the invisible enemy, as one of major forces to impact and shape the class of 2020 and your generation. But there's no doubt in my mind, because history always repeats itself, that you will come out on the backside of this thing stronger and better than you were before we ever heard of COVID-19. I will end my remarks with a short story. When I was a kid, our family camped a lot. And every time we were ready to leave and break camp, my dad would make my brother and I pick up every little bit of trash around the campsite. And back in those days, it was a common thing for people to smoke cigarettes around camp, and particularly around the campfire, and there were always cigarette butts laying around the fire ring and around the camp, and my dad always made us pick them up. And my brother and I always said, and we protested at that we did not leave those cigarette butts there, Dad. Why should we have to pick those up? And he'd always say this: whenever you leave a place, you want to leave it in better shape than it was when you got there. I look forward to seeing the great things that your generation will accomplish to make the world we live in a better place than the one the past generations have left for you. Congratulations to each of you, and may God bless the class of 2020.
This evening, our first honor graduate has compiled a 3.9 GPA and has been actively involved in academic UIL events, and the FFA. He competed at the state meet in math as a junior, received his FFA Lone Star degree last summer, and led his FFA chapter as president this year. His future plans are to earn a degree in animal science from Texas A&M and then attend their School of Veterinary Medicine. Please welcome to the stage your 2020 salutatorian, Garrett Drawbeck.
Hello, and welcome to the Moulton High School class of 2020 graduation. I'd like to wish a good evening to our school board members, our district staff, all friends and family, and finally, students. It's really exciting to see that even in a time of crisis, we still have such a strong community here to honor such a hard-working group of individuals for a night that none of us will ever forget. This speech turned out to be a lot harder to write than I thought it'd be. It wasn't because I didn't know what to write, but because I didn't want to do it. And no, it's not because I was procrastinating and waiting until the last minute. I didn't want to write this speech because I'm scared. I'm scared of saying goodbye to so many of you guys. But after all is said and done, all good things must come to an end. It is with great joy and great sadness that we are all here. I know that a lot of us have been waiting for this day for a long time, myself included. But actually being here in this moment, it makes me want to tear up. These past 4 years have definitely been the most memorable with this class of 2020. From our crazy breakfast adventures before every STAR test, all the way up to our virtual meetings on the computer, it's always been a blast. Through thick and thin, I feel like we've been through it all together. Some of us more than others. But I wouldn't change a thing if I ever got the chance to go back and do it again. Looking back at everything that we've accomplished, it took me way too long to realize that we have to work for what we want to achieve. A wise man once said that you get out what you put in. Don't ever expect more until you do more. As upcoming members of society, we all should strive to have the ethic to work for what we may want. Just look back at what we've been doing these past 13 years. No one would have made it here today if we all hadn't worked for this night. And I hope that as we all part in our own directions, we never forget this spirit. I'd like to thank both of my parents for instilling into me the drive and the willingness to want to work hard. Mom and Dad, I don't quite understand how, but by some miracle, you stood beside me the whole way through. Anytime I had trouble, you always had a hand on my shoulder to help guide me down the right path. To my sister, thank you for being one of the best role models a little brother could ever have. To all my teachers, all the way from kindergarten up to my senior year, I appreciate how you all drove me to do my best work. I truly wouldn't have made it this far without every single one of you, and for that, I am eternally grateful. But most importantly, I have to thank my classmates. I know that if we didn't have each other to keep pushing ourselves to do better, we wouldn't be where we are today. I know that in life, we'll all go off and do bigger and better things. In the end, I want everyone to remember that no matter what happens, this community will always be there to support us, to keep us going. And with that, I ask all the parents, all the faculty, friends, and everyone else here tonight to look upon the graduates here with pride. I ask that you remember each and every one of us, because we are the future. We're the future lawyers, doctors, educators, healers, mechanics. And some of us will even make the ultimate sacrifice and serve our country to protect the same freedoms that allow us to gather here today. I ask you please, don't count us out, but count on us to be amazing. Thank you.
Compiled a 4.0 GPA and has been actively involved in MHS activities. He and his cross-country team competed twice at the state meet. He was part of the regional semifinalist basketball team. He wrote the Grand Champion Constitutional Essay awarded by the Republican Women of Yoakum. And in UIL academics, he medaled at the state meet in current events and social studies. He will attend Texas A&M University to major in political science, and he plans to one day become a lawyer and a politician. Please welcome your valedictorian for the class of 2020, John Wensky.
Hello. During these unusual and difficult times, the class of 2020 welcomes family, friends, MISD staff, and distinguished guests to our graduation. We are so pleased for you to join us this evening to share in our extraordinary event. Thank you for helping us celebrate our 13 years of formation in excellence, pride, and tradition. To begin with, I would like to talk to my senior class about the unfortunate situation that we have found ourselves in and how to reflect upon it. For most of us, this was the year we had been dreaming about since the first day in kindergarten when we walked into Miss Carla and Miss Nieta's room. For our senior year, the spotlight of the community would be on us, just like the past generations of Moulton graduates. We ordered our caps and gowns, and we awaited the day when we would sit next to our best friends and hear our names called out at graduation. But as Iowa senior Lydia Lee perfectly put it, like a clap of thunder drawing us back to reality, we woke up from our picture-perfect dream. We were in the home stretch of this marathon called high school. But just as we rounded the corner to meet the finish line, the race got called off. Now, we are forced from our schools and teams. Rather than spend the last months surrounded by teachers and friends, we're banished to the solitude of our homes to finish off our senior year. And yes, fellow classmates, we have every right to be upset. Our lives have been uprooted, and it hurts. I know for me, I've had my moments where I spent a couple of hours of grief over the missed opportunities I worked so hard for. With all this said though, I want us as a class to do two different things, each of equal importance. The first is that I want us to take a lesson from this, that we cannot take anything for granted, even if it might be as trivial as walking into the school classroom and having a friendly conversation with our teachers. I know that I speak for some of my senior peers when I say one of the biggest regrets is not knowing that March 12th would be the last time we would be on the campus grounds with all of our classmates. It was the last day I would get to play my tuba, talk to Miss O about the latest political news. Oh, this was in trouble. Or listen to Coach Schuschbeck tell me how much better my Rockets were than his first. If only I would have known that this was the final day, I would have cherished it that much more. To continue though, nothing in life is promised. And once this whole coronavirus craze is over, let us not forget it. Make the most of every second. Enjoy time with your family. Appreciate the small things in life. Know that tomorrow is never guaranteed. Taking this approach to life will definitely make our futures all more enjoyable and fruitful. The second aspect I would like to discuss is something we all need to do as individuals, but more importantly, as a class. Even though our high school careers were cut short by 2 months, that still leaves us with about 13 years worth of memories full of fun and laughter that we should all reminisce on. Do you all recall when we got a new student in 8th grade? Little did we know, as a class, that Prue would give us some of our biggest laughs, especially from his unusual sayings and wonky dance moves. Or about that time at junior prom, when Candido jumped off the stage and figured we would catch him. Let's just say Candido's not the smallest guy. and we didn't catch poor Canito. Finally, this year's senior cross-country boys. What a time we had at state. Coach Maj, if you don't know this by now, well, here it is. Remember the day before the state meet when we were supposed to jar the course for practice? Well, we did that, except for about 2/3 of the time, we were also planning on what seemed to be the world's largest jungle gym to us Moulton kids. That's where we got our heavy sweat from. Now, I know there's a lot of more memories I'd like to get to, but Cody Kemp told me to keep it short. Before I sum up, I'd like to give some quick thank yous to some especially important people who have played a big role in helping me become the person I am today. First, my 4th and 5th grade history teacher, Miss Earlbauer. You are one of the main reasons I'm so interested in history. I always look forward to your social studies class. Some of my best memories come from your classroom. Thank you for all you did for me. And Miss Olivares, where do I even start? First of all, your classroom was like a second home to me.
By Sergeant Ian Parnell for a very special. Candido enlisted in the United States Army for 3 years of active duty. On July 20th, he will leave for basic training at Fort Benning, Georgia. He will then receive infantry training. With his 3-year enlistment, Candido will receive a college education amounting to $100,000. Let us commend Candido for his patriotism and wish him the best of luck as he begins his commitment to serving our country. Wearing the FFA cord in honor of the Lone Star degree he was awarded at the state convention. He is also wearing a green and white honor cord in recognition of his accomplishments in 4-H. Matthew is receiving the following scholarships. The Catholic Life Insurance Chapter 16 of Moulton Scholarship in the amount of $300. The Trent Rusnowski Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500. The Moulton Lions Club Scholarship in the amount of $500. The Cheryl Zimper-Yannock Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500. The Moulton Junior Livestock Association Scholarship in the amount of $600. And finally, he is receiving the Moulton Chamber of Commerce and Agricultural Pie Contest Scholarship in the amount of $1,000. Aaron is receiving the Moulton Chamber of Commerce and Agriculture Pie Contest Scholarship in the amount of $850. She is receiving the Johnny Meisitschlager Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $1,000. And Aaron is receiving the Concordia University Luther Scholarship in the amount of $15,000 for 4 years to total $60,000. Cody is wearing an honor cord tonight awarded by the South Texas Blood and Tissue Center to signify that he has given at least 6 blood donations during his lifetime. He is receiving the following scholarships. The Arthur H. and Marguerite B. Shoddy Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500. The Johnny Meisitschlager Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $750. And the Robert and Joan Caselitz Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $2,000. this school year, and she is wearing the Blinn College Blue Honor Cord for successfully completing dual credit classes. Caitlin is receiving the following scholarships: the TASC District 14 Scholarship in the amount of $500, the Moulton Chamber of Commerce and Agriculture Pie Contest Scholarship in the amount of $750, and finally, the Vietnam Veterans of America Chapter 870 Scholarship in the amount of $1,000. Tonight, awarded by the South Texas Blood and Tissue Center to signify that he has given at least 6 blood donations during his lifetime. He is receiving the following scholarships: the Catholic Daughters Texas State Court Scholarship in the amount of $500, the Moulton Booster Club Scholarship in the amount of $500, the Johnny Meisetschlager Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500, the Catholic Daughters Court 2018 in Moulton Scholarship for the amount of $500, the Arthur H. and Marguerite B. Shoddy Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500, the Robert and Joan Caslitz Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500, and finally, the Moulton Chamber of Commerce and Agriculture Pie Contest Scholarship in the amount of $750. Garrett is the salutatorian of the 2020 graduating class. He is graduating with the seal of the Beta Club on his diploma and is wearing a gold stole as a member of the Beta Club. He has earned honor roll 4 or more times this school year. Garrett is receiving the UIL Scholar Award for exemplary academic and extracurricular achievements. Garrett is wearing the FFA cord in honor of the Lone Star degree he was awarded at the state convention. He is wearing a green and white honor cord in recognition of his accomplishments in 4-H. He is wearing the Blinn College Blue Honor Cord for successfully completing dual credit classes, and Garrett is wearing a red honor cord tonight awarded by the South Texas Blood and Tissue Center to signify that he has given at least 6 blood donations during his lifetime. The following scholarships: the Gare Merrim American Legion Post 392 Scholarship in the amount of $250, the Johnny Meisetschlager Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $400, the Philip Boucher Texas A&M University Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500, the Catholic Daughters Court 2018 of Moulton Scholarship in the amount of $500, the Moulton Junior Livestock Association Scholarship in the amount of $600, the Moulton Chamber of Commerce and Agriculture Pie Contest Scholarship in the amount of $1,000. Go Texan Scholarship in the amount of $1,000. The Vietnam Veterans of America Chapter 854 Scholarship in the amount of $1,000. The Yoakum A&M Club Scholarship in the amount of $1,250. And finally, Garrett is receiving the GVEC Scholarship in the amount of $2,500. Tina is wearing a red honor cord tonight awarded by the South Texas Blood and Tissue Center to signify that she has given at least 6 blood donations during her lifetime. She is receiving the following scholarships: the Eastern Star Welder Chapter 223 Scholarship in the amount of $250. The Gare Merrim American Legion Post 392 Scholarship in the amount of $250. The Hermansons Lodge 59 Scholarship in the amount of $500. The Johnny Meischel-Slager Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500. The Moulton Chamber of Commerce and Agriculture Pie Contest Scholarship in the amount of $850. The Masonic Lodge number 298 Scholarship in the amount of $1,000. The Vietnam Veterans of America Chapter 870 Scholarship in the amount of $1,000. And finally, Christina is receiving the Emil and Justine Barron Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $1,500. Anthony is graduating with the seal of the Beta Club on his diploma and is wearing a gold stole as a member of the Beta Club. He has earned honor roll 4 or more times during this school year. He is receiving the following scholarships: the Bernadette Bachak Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $250. The Lutheran Men in Mission Scholarship in the amount of $400. The Masonic Lodge 298 Scholarship in the amount of $1,000. The Johnny Meischel-Slager Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $1,000. And the Robert and Joan Caselitz Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $2,000. Charles is receiving the following awards: the Master of Accurate Oral Retelling of Fiction and Nonfiction, and the Most Improved Vocational Skills Learned and Applied New Skills at Job Sites with Enthusiasm. JC is receiving the following scholarships: the Johnny Meischel-Slager Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $300. The Annette Robb Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500. And the Moulton Chamber of Commerce and Agriculture Pie Contest Scholarship in the amount of $1,000. Tristan has earned honor roll 4 or more times this school year. She is graduating with the seal of the Beta Club on her diploma and is wearing a gold stole as a member of the Beta Club. She is wearing green and white honor cords in recognition of her accomplishments in 4-H. She is wearing the Blinn College blue honor cord for successfully completing dual credit classes. And Tristan was a nominee for the Chamber of Commerce Outstanding Senior Award. She is receiving the following scholarships: the Gare Merrim American Legion Post 392 Scholarship in the amount of $250. The Arthur H. and Marguerite B. Shoddy Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500. The Moulton Booster Club Scholarship in the amount of $500. The Hermansons Lodge 59 Scholarship in the amount of $500. The Moulton Junior Livestock Association Scholarship in the amount of $600. Moulton Chamber of Commerce and Agriculture Pie Contest Scholarship in the amount of $750. The Masonic Lodge 298 Scholarship in the amount of $1,000. The Johnny Meisenschlager Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $1,000. The Lavaca Go Texans Scholarship in the amount of $1,000. The Knights of Columbus Moulton Council number 3244 Scholarship in the amount of $1,000. The Professions of Healing Arts Scholarship in the amount of $1,500. And Tristan is receiving the Crossroads Bank Scholarship in the amount of $8,000. Olivia has earned honor roll 4 or more times this school year, and she is receiving the following scholarships. The Moulton Booster Club Scholarship in the amount of $500. The Moulton Chamber of Commerce and Agriculture Pie Contest Scholarship in the amount of $850. The Johnny Meisenschlager Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $1,000. And the Workforce Solutions Golden Crescent Program Scholarship equal to $14,000 a year for a grand total of $56,000. John is the valedictorian of the 2019-20 graduating class. He is graduating with the seal of the Beta Club on his diploma and is wearing a gold stole as a member of the Beta Club. He has earned honor roll 4 or more times this school year. John is receiving the UIL Scholar Award for exemplary academic and extracurricular achievements. He has been honored with the Knights of Columbus Citizenship Award. He is wearing the FFA cord in honor of the Lone Star degree he was awarded at the state convention. He is wearing green and white honor cords in recognition of his accomplishments in 4-H. He is wearing the Blinn College blue honor cord for successfully completing dual credit classes. He is also wearing a red honor cord tonight awarded by the South Texas Blood and Tissue Center to signify that he has given at least 6 blood donations during his lifetime. And finally, for his awards, John was chosen as the Chamber of Commerce Outstanding Senior. He is receiving the following scholarships. The Catholic Life Insurance Branch number 16 Scholarship in the amount of $300. The Johnny Meisenschlager Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $300. The Catholic Daughters Court 2018 Scholarship in the amount of $500. The Gare Merrim American Legion Post 392 Scholarship in the amount of $500. The Moulton Junior Livestock Association Scholarship in the amount of $600. John qualified for the Blinn College Academic UIL Scholarship for placing second at the state meet, and the equivalency was $750. He is receiving the Catholic Life Insurance Branch number 16 Scholarship in the amount of $1,000. He is receiving the Moulton Chamber of Commerce and Agriculture Pie Contest Scholarship in the amount of $1,000. The Knights of Columbus Moulton Council number 3244 Scholarship in the amount of $1,000. The DeWitt Lavaca Aggie Mothers Club Scholarship in the amount of $1,250. The Catholic Daughters of America Memorial Scholarship at the state level for $1,750. And finally, John is receiving the highest ranking state tuition exemption to cover his first year of tuition at a Texas public university. And John is attending Texas A&M University in College Station. Graduating with the seal of the Beta Club on his diploma and is wearing a gold stole as a member of the Beta Club. He has earned honorable mention 4 or more times this school year. Sergeant Parnell has joined me once again because Lewis enlisted in the United States Army for 6 years of active duty. On May 26th, he will leave for basic training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. He will then receive operating room specialist training. With his enlistment, Lewis will receive a college education amounting to $112,000. So let's commend Lewis for his patriotism and wish him the best of luck as he begins his commitment to serving our country. Established in 1988, this award recognizes outstanding personal achievement in academics, citizenship, and community service. Voted by the faculty, this year's honoree, who has given her time and energy to our school and community in so many ways, and who would do anything to help anyone, and who is retiring this year after 42 years as a dedicated teacher, is Ellen Brumfield. We must make it official. So seniors, could I ask you to please stand so I may formally present you to your superintendent and school board. Mr. Poole and the Moulton ISD School Board, the records of the candidates for graduation have been examined, and we find that they meet the graduation requirements for the state of Texas and the requirements of the Moulton Independent School District. I hereby certify them eligible for graduation and recommend they be presented diplomas. Matthew Robert Birkenhoff. Erin Marie Bloschke. Cody Allen Broussard. Caitlin Elizabeth Baring. Ovidio Carlisle. Ryan Christopher DeHoyas. Christina Francis Wojcik. And Charles Douglas Kubicek. JC Elizabeth Lowe. Tristan Coral Meisitschlager. Isabella Moeller. Ricardo Pinedo Hernandez. Michael Robbie. Ramos. Trevor James Richter. Kate Tesh. Wensky. And our last graduate this evening, Louis Alexander Zuniga.
The newest alumni of Moulton High School. I present this picture to the class of 2021 and trust that you will ensure it hangs in the halls of Moulton High School forever. Let's go.
Help us to put the knowledge, skills, and insights gained through our education to use for the good of all humankind. Inspire us to believe in the goodness of our life, even when faced with challenges and difficulties. As we commence with our lives, may we grow ever more grateful and wise. All of this we ask in the name of Jesus, your beloved Son. Amen.